She is seated in a tense, hunched position in a bedroom chair that she has recovered with diagonal green and white stripes. She has on her scarlet satin robe. On the
Me.
table beside chair is a bottle of liquor and a glass. The rapid, feverish polka tune, the Varsoviana, is heard. The music is in her mind. She is drinking to escape it, and the sense of disaster closing in on her, and she seems to whisper the words of the song. An electric fan is turning back and forth around her. Mitch comes around the corner in work clothes, blue denim shirt and pants. He is unshaven. He climbs the steps to the door and rings. Blanche is startled. Blanche says,
Who is it? Please.
Me. Mitch.
M-
the polka tune that is heard from the back suddenly stops. And then
Mitch.
Blanche
J-
says,
Mitch, just a minute.
so
Yeah.
she rushes about frantically, hiding the bottle in a closet, crouching at the mirror and dabbing her face with cologne and powder. She's so excited that her breath is audible as she dashes about. At last, she rushes to the door in the kitchen and lets him in. Mitch says,
M- Mitch.
Yeah, no. I really shouldn't let you in the after the treatment I have received from your the evening so utterly unbehavior. But hello, beautiful.
so she offers him her lips. He ignores it and pushes past her into the flat. She looks fearfully after him as he stalks into the bedroom and says,
My, what a good shoulder and such uncouth appear. Why you haven't even shaved? The unforgivable insult to a lady, but I forgive you. I forgive you because it's such a relief to see you. You haven't stopped that polka turned that I had caught in my head. Have you ever had anything caught in your head? No, of course you haven't, you damned angel pass. You didn't. You should never get anything awful caught in your head.
so he stares at her while she follows him while she talks. It is obvious that he has had a few drinks on the way ever. Miss says,
Do we have to have that fan on?
No.
I don't like fans.
Then let's turn it off, honey. I am not partial to them.
so she presses the switch and the fan nods slowly off. She clears her throat uneasily as Mitch plumps himself down on the bed in the bedroom and lights a cigarette. Blanche
I
says,
don't know what there is to drink. I haven't investigated.
I don't want Stan's liquor.
Isn't stance. Everything here isn't stance. Something on these premises are actually mine. How's your mother? Isn't your mother well?
Why?
Something's the matter tonight, but never mind. I won't cross examine the witnesses. I'll just
she touches
pretend
she touches her forehead vaguely. The polka tune at the back tune starts up again, and she says,
pretend I don't notice anything different about you. That's music again.
What? Music?
The
Blanche,
Varsoviana, the polka tune they were playing when Alan wait.
a distant revolver shot is heard. Blanche seems relieved.
There now, the shot. I always stops after that.
The polka music dies out again.
Yes, now stop. Now it stopped.
Are you boxed out of your mind?
I'll go and see what can I find in the way of.
She crosses into the closet, pretending to search for the bottle.
Oh, by the way, excuse me for not being dressed, but I would practically giving you up. Had you forgotten your invitation to super?
I wasn't going to see you anymore.
Wait a minute. I can't hear what you were saying, and you talk so little. Then, when you do say something, I don't want to miss a single syllable of it. Wait, what? What I am looking around her for? Oh, yes, liquor. We have had so much excitement around here this evening that I am boxed out of my mind.
She pretends suddenly to find the bottle. He draws his foot up on the bed and stares at her contemptuously.
Here's something, Southern Comfort. What's that? I wondered.
If you don't know, it must belong to Stern.
Take your foot off the bed. It has a light cover on it. Of course, you boys don't notice things like that. I have done so much with this place since I have been here.
I bet you have.
You saw it before I came. Well, look at it now. This room is almost dainty. I want to it keep in that way. I wondered if stuff ought to be mixed with something. It's sweet, so sweet. It's terribly, terribly sweet. Why, it's a liquor, I believe. Yes, that's what it is, a liquor. I'm afraid you won't like it, but try it and maybe you will.
I told you already I don't want none of his liquor and I mean it. You ought to lay off his liquor. He says you've been lipping it up a summer like a wildcat.
What a What a fantastic statement. Fantastic of to say it. Fantastic of you to repeat it. I won't descend to leave the level of such cheap accusations to answer them even.
Huh?
What's in your mind? I see something in your eyes.
It's dark is here.
I like it dark. The dark is comforting to me.
I don't think I ever seen you in the light.
Blanche is heard laughing breathlessly. Mitch continues.
I never seen you in the afternoon.
Whose fault is that?
You never want to go out in the afternoon.
Why, Mitch? You were the plant in afternoon?
Not Sunday afternoon. I have asked you to go out with me sometimes on Sunday, but you always make an excuse. You never want to go out till after 6 and then it always some places that not late much.
There is something obscure meaning in this, but I fail to catch it.
What is mean is I have never had a real good look at you. Blanche, let's turn the light on here.
Blanche is very afraid. Fearfully, she says,
Light? Which light? What for?
This one with the paper things on it.
so he tears the paper lantern off the light bulb and she utters a frightening gasp. So we have this, and then Blanche says, so Blanche,
What did what did you do that for?
So I can take a look at you good and plain.
Of course, you don't really mean to be insulting.
yes, Blanche, continue. Blanche,
I don't want realism. I want magic.
Mitch laughs.
Yes, yes, magic. I try to give that to people. I misrepresent things to them. I don't tell truth. I tell what ought to be truth. And if that is silly, Painful, then let them for it. Don't turn the light off now.
He tosses to the switch. He turns the light on and stares at her. She cries out and covers her face. He turns the light off again. Then Mitch slowly and bitterly says,
I don't mind you being older than what I thought, but all the rest of it, just that piece about your ideas being so old-fashioned, and all the marquee that you have tasted out on summer. Oh, I knew you written 16 anymore, but I was a fool enough to believe you was right.
Who told you I wasn't straight? My loving brother in law? And you believed him?
I called him a liar at first, and then I checked on the story. First I asked our supplement to travel through Leuven, and then I talked directly over long distance to this merchant.
so listening to Mitch, Blanche, our new Blanche Le, Shonal, she will be performing Blanche, says,
136. Who is this merchant?
Kiefer,
The merchant care power of Laurel. I know the man. He
so Blanche
he
says he
makes
whistled.
stories about me.
three people, Kiefer, Stanley, and Shaw swore to them.
Rubber dub dub.
Didn't you say at a hotel called the Flamingo?
So Blanche is reminded of Flamingo. She says, Flamingo? No, no. Tarantula was the name of it. I stayed at a hotel called the Tarantula Arms. And then Mitch regards this as very stupid. Tarantula? Then
Tarantula?
Blanche says,
Yes, a big spider. There's where I brought my victims.
she pours herself another drink and says,
Yes, I had many intimacies with strangers. After the death of Alan, intimacies with strangers was all I seemed able to fill my empathy heart with. I think it was panic, just panic, that drove me from on the one to another, hunting for some protection here and there in the most unlikely place, even at last in a 17 years old boy. But somebody wrote the superintendent about it. This woman is morally unfit for her position.
she throws back her head with convulsive, sobbing laughter. Then she repeats the statement, gasps, and drinks. She continues,
True, true, yes, I suppose. Unfit somehow, anyway. So I came here. There was nowhere else I could go. I was played out. You know what played out is. My youth was suddenly gone up the water spot, and I met you. You said you needed somebody. Well, I needed somebody too. I thanked God for you because you seemed to be gentleman, a cleft in the rock of the world that I could hide in. But I guess I was asking, hoping too much. Kefauver, Stanley, and Shaw have tied an old tin can to the tail of the kite.
there is a pause. Mitch stares at Blanche dumbly.
You lied to me, Blanche.
Don't say I lied to you.
Lies, lies, inside and out, all lies.
Never inside. I didn't lie in my heart.
A vendor comes around the corner. She is a blind Mexican woman in a dark shawl, carrying bunches of those gaudy tin flowers that lower class Mexican display at funerals and other festive occasions. She is calling barely audible. Her figure is only faintly visible outside the building. A Mexican woman from outside calls. Guys! Mexican woman voice is heard from the back. Flores! 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 Paralos! Piratos! Flores! Flores!
What? Oh, somebody outside.
So she goes to the door, opens it, and stares at the Mexican woman. Mexican woman is she's at the door and offers Blanche some of the flowers. Flores, flores, para los muertos.
No, no, not now, not now.
So Blanche is frightened and she darts back into the apartment, slamming the door. The Mexican woman, she turns away and starts to move down the street. Flores, para los muertos. And we can hear that the polka tune gradually fading. And Blanche, as if to herself,
Crum-
says,
Crumble and fade and regrets, discriminations. If you don't done this, if wouldn't cost me that.
Corones para los piratas, corones.
Ledges, ha, and other things such as blood stand pillow slip. Her lines need changing. Yes, mother, but couldn't we get to colored girl to do it? Now we couldn't, of course. Everything gone but they.
Flores.
That I used to sit here and she used to sit over there and that was as close as you are. We didn't dare even admit we have ever heard of it.
Flores para los piratas, flores, flores.
The opposite of desire. So do you wonder? How could you possible wonder? Not for believe before we had to lost believe was a camp where they trained young soldiers. On Saturday nights they would go in town to get drunk.
Colores.
And one the way back they would stag on my lawn and call Blanche, Blanche. The deaf old lady remaining suspected nothing, but sometimes I slipped outside and answered their calls. Later the paddy wagon would gather them up like daisies the young way home.
The Mexican woman now turns slowly and drifts back off with her soft, mournful cries. Blanche goes to the dresser and leans forward to it. On it. After a moment, Mitch rises and follows her purposefully. The polka music fades away. He places his hands on her waist and tries to turn her about. Blanche says.
What do you want?
So Mitch is fumbling to embrace her. Mitch says,
What I've been missing all summer.
Then marry me, Myth.
I don't think I want to marry you anymore.
Myth.
so Mitch is dropping his hands from her waist, and Mitch says,
You are
You are
not
not
clean. Oh,
you are not clean enough to bring in the house with my mother.
go away then.
he stares at her.
Get out of her quick before I start screaming fire.
Her throat is tightening with hysteria.
Get out of her quick before I start screaming fire.
He still remains staring. She suddenly rushes to the big window with its pale blue square of the soft summer light and cries wildly.
Fire, fire, fire.
With a startled grasp, Mitch turns and goes out the outer door, clatters awkwardly down the steps and around the corner of the building. Blanche staggers back from the window and falls to her knees. The distant piano is slow and blue. End of scene 9.
Yes.
Tennessee Williams, A Streetcar Named Desire, Scene 10. It is a few hours later that night. Blanche has been drinking fairly steadily since Mitch left. She has dragged her wardrobe trunk into the center of the bedroom. It hangs open with flowery dresses thrown across it. As the drinking and packing went on, a mood of hysterical exhilaration came into her, and she was decked herself out in a somewhat soiled and crumpled white satin evening gown and a pair of scuffled silver slippers with brilliant set in their heels. Now she is placing the rhinestone tiara on her head before the mirror of the dressing table and murmuring excitedly, as if to a group of spectral admirers. Blanche says,
How about taking a swim, a moonlight swim, at the old rock quarry? If anyone's sober enough to drive a car, haha, best way in the world to stop your head buzzing. Only you have got to be careful to dive where the deep pool is. If you hit a rock, you didn't come up till tomorrow.
tremblingly, she lifts a hand mirror for a closer inspection. She catches her breath and slams the mirror face down with such violence that the glass cracks. She moans a little and attempts to rise. Stanley appears around the corner of the building. He still has on the vivid green silk bowling shirt. As he rounds the corner, the honky tonk music is heard. It continues softly throughout the scene. He enters the kitchen, slamming the door. As he peers in at Blanche, he gives a low whistle. He has had a few drinks on the way and has brought some quart beer bottles home with him. Blanche says,
How is my sister?
She's doing okay.
And how's the baby?
The baby won't come before morning, so they told me to go home and get a little shut eye.
Does that mean we are to be alone in here?
Yep, just me and you, Blanty. Unless you got some body hide under the bed, whatever you got on those fine feathers for.
Oh, that's right. You left before my war came.
You got a wire?
I received a telegram from an old admirer of mine.
Anything good?
I think so. An invitation.
What to? A fireman ball?
A cruise tour of Caribbean on a yacht.
Well, what do you know?
I have never been so surprised in my life.
I guess not.
It came like a bolt from a blue.
Who do you say it was from?
An old beau of mine.
The one that gave you the white fox pieces?
Mr. Sepp Huntlight, I wore these at Ethiopian my last year at college. I hadn't seen him again until last Christmas. I ran into him on Beyonce Boulevard. Then just now this wire inviting me on a cruise of the Caribbean. The problem is clothes. I tore into my trunk to see what I have that's suitable for the tropes.
And come up with that gorgeous diamond tiara.
This old relic, haha, it's only Renetro's stones.
Gosh, I thought it was Tiffany diamond.
Stanley unbuttons his shirt.
Well, anyhow, I shall be entrained in her in style.
I goes to show. You know, you never know where's coming.
just when I thought my luck had begun to fail me.
Into the pictures pops that Miami millionaire.
This man is not from Miami. This man from Dolls.
This man is from Dallas.
Yes, this man is from Dallas where gold spouts off her the ground.
Well, just so. He's from somewhere.
He starts removing his shirt. Blanche.
Close the curtains before you undress any further.
Stanley is quite amiable and says,
This is all I'm going to undress right now.
he rips the sack of a quart beer bottle, says,
Seen a beer bottle?
she moves slowly towards the dresser where she stands with her hands knotted together.
I used to have a cousin who could open a beer bottle with his feet.
So, pounding the corner of a table, Stanley says,
That was his only accomplishment. All he can do. He was just a human bottle opener. And then one time at a wedding party, he broke his front teeth off. After that, he was so ashamed of himself, he used not to shriek out of the house when company came.
the bottle cap pops off and a geyser of foam shoots up. Stanley laughs happily, holding up the bottle over his head.
Ha ha, rain from heaven.
Stanley says. He extends the bottle towards her.
Shall we bury your hatchet and make it a loving cup? Ha.
No, thank you.
Well, it's a red letter night for us both. You having a oil millionaire and me having a baby.
He goes to the bureau in the bedroom and crouches to remove something from the bottom drawer. Blanche drawing back.
What are you doing in here?
Here's something I always break out on special occasion like this. The silk pajama I wore on my wedding night.
Oh,
When the telephone ring and they say you have got a son, I will tear this off and wave it like a flag.
So he shakes out a brilliant pajama coat.
I guess we were both entitled to put on the dog.
So Stanley goes back to the kitchen with the coat over his arms.
when I think of how divine it is going to be to have such a thing as privacy once more.
So Stanley
This
says,
I
millionaire
could
from
have
Dallas,
with joy.
this millionaire from Dallas is not going to interfere with your privacy any.
It wouldn't be the sort of things you have in mind. This man is a gentleman and he respects me.
improvising feverishly, Blanche says,
What he wants is my companionship. Having great wealth sometimes make people lonely. A cultivated woman, a woman of intelligence and breeding, can enrich a man's life immeasurably. I have those things to offer, and this doesn't take them away. Physical beauty is passing, a transitory passions, but beauty of the mind and richness of the spirit and tenderness of the heart, and I have all those things aren't take away but grow, increase with the years. How strange that I should be called a destitute woman when I have all of this treasure locked in my heart.
a choked sob comes from her.
I think of myself as a very, very rich woman, but I have been foolish, casting my pearls before swine.
Swine! Ah,
Yes, swine, and I am thinking not only of you, but of your friend, Mr. Mitchell. He come to see me tonight. He dared to come here in his work clothes and to repeat slander to me various stories that he had gotten from you. I have him his walking papers.
you did, huh?
But then he came back. He returned with a box of roses to beg my forgiveness. He implored my forgiveness, but come things are not forgivable. Deliberated cruelly in not some things are not forgivable. Drilled cruelly is not forgivable. It is The only unforgivable thing, in my opinion, and it is the one thing of which I have never been guilty. And so I told him, I said to him, thank you. But it was foolish of me to think that we could ever adopt ourselves to each other. Our ways of life are too different. Our attitudes and our backgrounds are incompatible. We have to be realistic about such things. So, farewell, my friend, and let there be no hard feelings.
Was this before or after a telegram come from the Texas oil millionaire?
What telegram? No, no. After, as a matter of fact, the wire came just as.
As a matter of fact, there wasn't no wire at all.
Oh, oh,
There isn't no millionaire, and a Mitch didn't come with roses 'cause I know where he is.
oh,
There isn't a goddamn thing but imagination
oh.
and lies and conceit and tricks.
Ah.
And look at you. Take a look at yourself in that worn out Mardi Gras outfit rented for 50 cents from some rag picker and with the crazy crown on. What queen do you think you are?
Oh, God.
I have been on to you from the start. Not once did you pull any wool over this boy's eyes. You come in here and sprinkle the place with powder and spray perfume and cover the light bulb with a paper lantern. And lo and behold, the has turned into Egypt, and you are the queen of the Nile, sitting on your throne and swelling down my liquor. I say, ha ha. Do you hear me? Ha ha ha.
He walks into the bedroom.
Don't come in here.
So at the back, we see lurid reflections appear on the walls around Blanche. The shadows of her are of a grotesque and menacing form. She catches her breath, crosses to the phone, and jingles the hook. Stanley goes into the bedroom and closes the door.
Operator, give me long distance, please. I want to get in touch with Mr. Shep Huntlight of Dallas. He's well known. He doesn't require my any address. Just ask anybody. Who? Wait, no, I can't find it right now. Please understand. No, wait. Come, one moment. Someone is. Nothing. Hold on, please.
So she sets the phone down and crosses warily into the kitchen. The night is filled with inhuman voices like cries in a jungle. The shadows of lurid reflections move sinisterly as flames along the wall spaces. Through the back wall of the room, which have been become transparent, can be seen the sidewalk. A prostitute has rolled a drunkard. He pursues her along the walk, overtakes her, and there is a struggle. A policeman's whistle breaks it up. The figures disappear. Some moments later, the Negro woman appears around the corner with a squint bag, which the prostitute has dropped on the walk. She is rooting excitedly through it. Blanche presses her knuckles to her lips and returns slowly to the phone. She speaks in a hoarse whisper. Blanche.
Operator, never mind. Long distance. Get Western Union. There isn't time to be. Western Union.
She waits anxiously.
Western Union. Yes, I want to. Take down this message in desperate. Cricumestains, help me. Catch in a trap. Catch in. Oh.
The bathroom door is thrown open and Stanley comes out in the brilliant silk pajamas. He grins at her as he knots the tassel sash about his waist. She gasps and backs away from the phone. He stares at her for a count of 10. Then a clicking becomes audible from the telephone, steady and rasping. Stanley says.
You left the phone off the hook.
So he crosses to it deliberately and sets it back on the hook. After he has replaced it, he stares at her again, his mouth slowly curving into a grin as he weaves between Blanche and the outer door. The barely audible blue piano begins to drum up louder. The sound of it turns into the roar of an approaching locomotive. Blanche crouches, pressing her fist to her ears until it has gone by. But finally, straightening herself, Blanche says,
Let me get by you.
Get by me? Sure, go ahead.
so he moves back a pace in the doorway. Blanche says,
You stand over there.
she indicates a further position. Stanley, grinning, says,
You got plenty on room to walk by me now?
Not with you there, but I have got to get out somehow.
You think I will interfere with you? Haha.
the blue piano goes softly. She turns confusedly and makes a faint gesture. The inhuman jungle voices rise up. He takes a step towards her, biting his tongue, which protrudes between his lips. Stanley softly says,
Come to think of it, maybe you wouldn't be bad to interfere with.
Blanche moves backward through the door into the bedroom.
Stay back. Don't you come toward me another step or I will.
What?
Some awful thing will happen. It will.
What are you putting on now?
They are now both inside the bedroom. Blanche says.
I warn you, don't. I am in danger.
He takes another step. She smashes a bottle on the table and faces him, clutching the broken top. Stanley says,
What do you do that for?
So I could twist the broken end in your face.
I bet you would do that.
I would. I will if you.
Oh, so you want some rough house? All right, let's have some rough house.
he springs around her, overturning the table. She cries out and strikes at him with the bottle top, but he catches her wrist.
Tiger, Tiger, drop the bottle top, drop it. We have had this date with each other from the beginning.
She moans, the bottle top falls. She sinks to her knees. He picks up her inert figure and carries her to the bed. The hot trumpet and drums from the four deuces sound slowly. The end of scene 10 of Tennessee Williams' play, A Streetcar Named Desire. The final scene, the last scene, scene 11. It is some weeks later. Stella is packing Blanche's things. Sound of water can be heard running in the bathroom. The portieres are partly open on the poker players, Stanley, Steve, Mitch, and Pablo, who sit around the table in the kitchen. The atmosphere of the kitchen is now the same way, raw, lurid, one of the disastrous poker night. The building is framed by the sky of turquoise. Stella has been crying as she arranges the flowery dress in the open trunk. Eunice comes down the steps from her flat above and enters the kitchen. There is an outburst from the poker table. We find Stanley there, and Stanley says,
Drew to an inside straight and made it. By God.
so Stanley says about this, and Pablo talks about Maldita se tu suroto.
Put it in English, greaseball.
Pablo is on the table and he says, I'm cursing your rotting luck. Stanley, prodigiously elated, says,
You know what luck is? Luck is believing you are lucky. Take at Stanlow. I believe I was lucky. I figured that out of 5 would not come through, but I would. And I did. I put that down as a rule. To hold front position in this rat race, you have got to believe you are lucky.
so Mitch is there, Mitch says,
You, brag, bull.
Stella goes into the bedroom and starts folding her dress. Stanley says,
What is the matter with him?
So Unich is there on the scene. Unich walking past the table says,
I was always did say that men are callous things with no feelings, but this does beat anything, making pigs of yourselves.
the Unich comes through the portieres and into the bedroom. Stanley says,
What is the matter with her?
How is my baby?
Sleeping like a little angel, brought you some grapes.
she puts them on a stool and lowers her voice.
Blanche,
Bathing.
how is she?
She would not eat anything but asked for a drink.
What did you tell her?
I just told her that we had made arrangements for her to rest in the country. She is got it mixed in her mind with Shape Huntley.
Blanchelet opens the bathroom door slightly. Blanchelet says, Stella,
Yes,
so
Blanche.
if anyone calls while I am bathing, take the number and tell them I will call right back.
Yes.
That cool yellow silk, the box. See, it is crushed. It is, it's not too crushed. I will wear it, and on the lapel that silver and turquoise pin in the shape of a seahorse. You will find them in the heart-shaped box I keep my accessories in. And Stella, try and locate a bunch of artificial violets in that box too, to pin with the seahorse on that lapel of a jacket. So Blanche then closes the door, and Stella turns to Unich. Stella,
I don't know if I did the right thing.
What else could you do?
I could not believe her story and go on living with Stanley.
Don't ever believe it. Life has got to go on. No matter what happens, you have got to keep on going.
the bathroom door opens a little, and Blanche, looking out, says, "Is that the coast clear?
Yes, Blanche, tell her how well she is looking.
Please close the curtain before I come out."
They are closed.
How many for you?
Two, three. Blanche appears in the amber light of the door. She has a tragic radiance in a red satin robe, following the sculptural lines of her body. The Varsoviana rises audibly as Blanche enters the bedroom. Blanche, with faintly hysterical vivacity, says, I have just washed my hair.
Did you?
I'm not sure. I got the soap out.
Such fine hair!
He says, it's a problem. Didn't I get a call?
Who from? Blanche?
Ship and clay.
Why? Not yet, honey.
How straight. Hi. At the sound of Blanche's voice, Mitch's arms supporting his cards has sagged, and his gaze is dissolved into the space. Stanley slaps him on the shoulder, and Stanley
Hey,
says,
hey, Mitch, come too.
the sound, the sound of this new voice shocks Blanche. The sound of this new voice shocks Blanche. She makes a shocked gesture, forming his name with her lips. Stella nods and looks quickly away. Blanche stands quite still for some moments, the silver-backed mirror in her hand, and looks and a look of sorrowful perplexity as all human experience shows on her face. Blanche finally speaks, but with sudden hysteria. Hey, what's going on there? Here, what's going on here? She turns from Stella to Eunice and back to Stella. Her rising voice penetrates the concentration of the game. Mitch ducks his head lower, but Stanley shoves back his chair as if about to rise. Steve places a restraining hand on his arm. Blanche continues and says, "What happened here? I want an explanation of what's happening here."
Shush,
Hush, hush, honey.
please, Blanche.
Why are you looking at me like that? Is something wrong with me?
You look wonderful, Blanche. Don't she look wonderful?
Yes,
I understand you are going on a trip.
yes, Blanche is. She is going on a vacation.
I am green with envy.
Help me! Help me get dressed now!
Is this what you?
Yeah, yes, I will do. I'm anxious to get out of here. This place is a trap.
What a pretty blue jacket.
Is lilac colored.
You are both mistaken. It is still a ropier blue. The blue of the room in the old Madonna's picture. Are these grapes washed? So
Huh?
she fingers the bunch of grapes which Eunice had brought in. Eunice says,
Huh?
Washed, I said. Are they washed?
They are from the French market.
That doesn't mean they have been washed. Tung, tung, tung. Those cathedral bells. They're the only clean thing in the quarter. Well, I'm going now. I'm ready to go.
She is going to walk out before they get here.
Wait, Blanche.
I don't want to pass in front of those men.
Then wait till the game breaks up.
Sit down and
Blanche turns weakly, hesitantly about. She lets them push her into a chair, and Blanche says, I can smell the sea here. The rest of my time I'm going to spend on the sea. And when I die, I'm going to die on the sea. You know what I shall die of? I shall die of eating an unwashed grape one day out of the ocean. I will die with my hand in the hand of some nice looking ship's doctor. A very young one with a small blonde mustache and a big silver watch. Poor lady, they will say, the quinine did her no good. That unwashed grape had transported her soul to heaven. Tongue, 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 tongue. And I will be buried. I will be buried at sea. Swan up in a clean white shack of dropped overboard at noon in a place of summer and into an ocean as blue. Oh, tongue, tongue, as my lover does. A doctor and a matron have appeared around the corner of the building and climbed the steps to the porch. The gravity of their profession, the profession of the doctor and the nurse, the gravity of their profession is exaggerated. The unmistakable aura of the state institution with its cynical detachment. The doctor rings the doorbell. The murmur of the game is interrupted. Eunice, whispering to Stella, says, Eunice says that must be them. Stella presses her fist in her lips, and Blanche is rising slowly. What is it? Eunice, affectedly casual, says,
Excuse me while I see who is at the door.
yes,
Eunice goes into the kitchen. Blanche tensely says, I wonder if it is for me. A whispered colloquy takes place at the door. Eunice, returning brightly, says,
Someone is calling for Blanche.
It is for me then. She looks fearfully from one to the other and then to the portries. The Varsu of Vienna faintly plays. It is the gentleman I was expecting from Dallas.
I think it is Blanche.
I'm not quite ready now.
Ask him to wait outside.
Why? Eunice goes back to the portieres. Drum sounds very softly. Stella says,
Everything packed?
My silver toilet articles are still out.
Ah,
Eunice returning says,
They are
they
waiting
are
in
waiting.
the house.
Blanche says, who's they?
There is a lady with him.
I cannot imagine who this lady could be. How is she dressed?
Just a shot of a plain tailored outfit.
Possibly she is.
Shall we go, Blanche?
Must we go through that room?
I will go with you.
How do I look?
Lovely.
Lovely.
So Blanche moves fearfully to the portieres and Eunice draws them open for her. Blanche goes into the kitchen. Blanche to the men says, Please don't get up. I'm only passing through. She crosses quickly to outside door. Stella and Eunice follow. The poker players stand awkwardly at the table, all except Mitch, who remains seated, looking down at the table. Blanche steps out on a small porch at the side of the door. She stops short and catches her breath. Doctor says,
How do you do?
You are not the gentleman I was expecting. So Blanche suddenly gasps and starts back up the step. She stops by Stella, who stands just outside the door, and speaks in a frightening whisper. That man isn't Ship Huntley. The Varsuviana is playing distantly. Stella stares back at Blanche. Eunice is holding Stella's arm. There is a moment of silence, no sound but that of Stanley steadily shuffling the cards. Blanche catches her breath again and slips back into the flat. She enters the flat with a peculiar smile, her eyes wide and brilliant. As soon as her sister goes past her, Stella closes her eyes and clenches her hands. Eunice throws her arms comfortably about her. Then she starts up to her flat. Blanche stops just inside the door. Mitch keeps staring down at his hands on the table, but the other men look at her curiously. At last, she starts around the table toward the bedroom. As she does, Stanley suddenly pushes back his chair and rises as if to block her way. The matron follow her into the flat. Stanley says,
Did you forget something?
Yes! Yes! I forgot something! She rushes past him into the bedroom. Lurid reflections appear on the wall in odd, sinuous shapes. And then the Varsuvina is filtered into weird distortion, accompanied by cries and noise of the jungle. Blanche seizes the back of a chair as if to defend herself. Stanley, same voice says,
Doc, you better go in.
same voice, doctor says, motioning to the matron. Doctor says,
Nurse, bring her out.
the matron advances on one side, Stanley on the other. Divested of all the softer properties of womanhood, the matron is peculiarly sinister figure in her severe dress. Her voice is bold and toneless as a fireball. The matron says,
Hello, Blanche.
voices behind the wall. Hello, Blanche. Hello, Blanche. Hello, Blanche. Hello, Blanche. Hello, Blanche. Hello, Blanche. As if reverberated through the canyons of rocks. Stanley says,
She says that she forget something.
the echo of the sounds in threatening whispers. Blanche, 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 Blanche. Matron says.
That's all right.
What did you forget, Blanche?
Hi, hi.
It don't matter. We can pick it up later.
Sure, we can send it along with the truck.
I don't know. I don't know. I want to be left alone. Please.
Now, Blanche.
Blanche, no, Blanche, 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 no, Blanche, 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 no, Blanche.
You left nothing here but slipped talcum and old empty perfume bottles. Unless it is the paper lantern you want to take with you. You want the lantern?
So he crosses to the dressing table and seizes the paper lantern, tearing it off the light bulb and extends it towards her. She cries out as if the lantern was herself. The matron steps boldly towards her. She screams and tries to break past the matron. All the men spring to her their feet. Stella runs out to the porch, while Enrich following to comfort her simultaneously with the confused voices of the men in the kitchen. Stella rushes into Eunice's embrace on the porch. Stella says,
Oh my God, please help me. Don't let them do that to her. Don't let them hurt her. Oh God, oh God, don't hurt her. What are they doing to her?
she tries to break from Eunice's arm. Eunice says,
No, no, honey, no, no. Stay here. Don't go back in there. Stay with me and don't look.
What have I done to my sister? Oh God, what have I done to my sister?
You done the right thing, the only thing you could do. She could not stay here. There was not no other place for her to go.
while Stella and Eunice are speaking on the porch, the voices of the men in the kitchen overlap them. Mitch has started towards the bedroom. Stanley crosses to block him. Stanley pushes him aside. Mitch lunges and strikes at Stanley. Stanley pushes Mitch back. Mitch collapses at the table, sobbing. During the preceding scenes, the matron catches hold of Blanche's arm and prevents her flight. Blanche turns wildly and scratches at the matron. The heavy woman pinions her arm.
Hello.
Not unless necessary.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello, sir, are you there?
Hello, sir. Hello.
Network issue, I think. Wait a minute.
স্যারই বেরিয়ে গেছে
Wait a minute.
Yeah. সূত্রধর Hello, sir. Are you there? Hello, sir. Hello. Hello, sir. Are you there?
So so here we have during the preceding scene, the matron catches hold of Blanche's arm and prevents her flight. Blanche turns wildly and scratches the matron. The heavy woman pinions her arms. Blanche cries out hoarsely and slips to her knees. Matron says,
These fingernails have to be trimmed.
the doctor comes into the room and she looks at him.
Jackets, doctor.
The doctor says, doctor refers to this as, yes, doctor says.
Not
Not
unless
unless.
necessary.
So the doctor takes off his hat and now he becomes personalized. The unhuman quality goes, his voice is gentle and reassuring. As he crosses to Blanche and crouches in front of her. As he speaks her name, her terror subsides a little. The lurid reflections fill the wall, the inhuman cries and noises die out, and her own hoarse crying is calmed. Doctor says.
Miss Dubois,
So she turns her face to him and stares at him with desperate pleading. He smiles. Then he speaks to the matron again.
It won't be necessary.
Ask her to let go of me.
Let go.
The matron releases Blanche. Blanche extends her hands towards the doctor. He draws her up gently and supports her with his arms and leads her through the portieres. Blanche, holding tight to his arm, says, whoever you are, I've always depended on the kindness of strangers. The poker players stand back at Blanche, and the doctor crosses the kitchen to the front door. She allows him to lead her as she were blind. As they go out of the room, Stella cries out her sister's name from where she is crouched a few steps up on the stair. Stella says,
Blanche,
कहाँ पे क्लास चल रही थी?
Blanche.
Blanche walks on without turning, followed by the doctor and the matron. They go around the corner of the building. Eunice descends to Stella and places a child in her arms. She is wrapped in a pale blue blanket. Stella accepts the child. Sobbingly, Eunice continues downstairs and enters the kitchen, where the men except Stanley are returning silently to their places about the table. Stanley has gone out on the porch and stands at the foot of the step looking at Stella. Stanley is in a bit uncertainty, says.
Stella,
So she sobs with inhuman abandon. There is nothing luxurious in her complete surrender to crying now that her sister is gone. And Stanley voluptuously, soothingly says,
now honey, now love, now love.
he kneels beside her and his fingers find the opening of her blouse.
Now love, now love.
The luxurious sobbing, the sensuous murmur fade away under the swelling music of the blue piano and the muted trumpet. Steve finally says,
This
this
game is
game
seven
is
card.
7 cards. Start. So there is a curtain drop and end of scene 11, end of the play, Tennessee Williams, A Streetcar Named Desire. Thank you very much, students, for your participation. Car
Thank
excellence.
you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So I stop